All right, lesson 11. Finally getting all caught up. So, this week's application assignment was we were supposed to go outside, or I guess it doesn't have to be outside, but we were supposed to go and pick our favorite sport to play with a simulated disability. And that was kind of hard for me because it's the middle of winter, and my favorite sports are distance cycling, canoeing, and rock climbing. And so it was pretty difficult to do those things. So I chose to do cycling, and I didn't go very far because it was absolutely freezing cold. So because it was cold, I chose for my simulated disability a breathing impairment. So I wrapped a scarf around my face because I didn't have a mask, and I have gained about 15 pounds since I got married. So I just took one of my belts and I tightened it really tight around my waist to simulate breathing disability. And I went out and I rode my bike, and it was really, really difficult. Questions say, describe the sport and ideas for making it accessible. Well, there are plenty of ways for making cycling accessible. And honestly, if you're doing distance cycling and you have a breathing disability, the best way to combat that is to just be careful, watch what you're doing, pace yourself, so that you don't overexert yourself, so that you're not going like I was, because I was trying a little too hard. Because I was trying to pedal like I usually do, and I couldn't because it was really painful. So yeah, just pace yourself. Maybe for some people it's better to have a recumbent bicycle, so maybe that would be a really good idea. Pros and cons for the activity. Well, pros are just about anybody can do it. Maybe the cons would be, I don't know how many people with like a severe mental disability or say cerebral palsy, I don't know how well someone like that would be able to do it unless they're being towed behind, like in a cart, or pushed forward in front of the bicycle in a cart. Usually it's behind because it's really hard to steer if you've got someone in front of you as opposed to behind you. How difficult was it to participate? It wasn't that difficult. I mean, if it was a race, which I don't participate in races, but say if it were a race, then yeah, it'd be pretty difficult because of the restricted breathing. You can't go as fast. You'd have to train your body to survive on less oxygen, in which case you should probably be training yourself in a swimming pool, because that's the only way I know, or at super, super high altitudes, or even better, at super, super high altitudes in a swimming pool or a lake. Was it fun? It was kind of fun. What went wrong, and what went right? What went right was I didn't crash the bike. I managed to stay on the bike. What went wrong was I didn't get as far as I hoped that I would or thought that I would, and the belt on my abdomen was really, really tight. So it kind of hurt a lot to do that. So I don't know if it's similar to how people with actual breathing restrictions feel, but it did hurt. What would I do differently, or what did I learn, and how has it changed my perception on inclusion? Well, probably next time I probably would not wear a belt around my abdomen because that was really painful. But it did kind of open my eyes to how people who have asthma, or like my husband has asthma and it only affects him during cold weather, so he wouldn't be able to do outdoor sports in cold weather without a special mask that keeps the air that he breathes warm and moist. Sorry. Yeah, my perception of inclusion, for inclusion, I guess just be aware. Like, I know a lot of the times, like, even without a breathing disability, when I was in Young Women's and we would play basketball, we didn't know this at the time, but I have chondromalacia in my knees, and I think that's one of the things that might have caused it. But I would always get really short of breath really quickly after just running one time down the length of the basketball court, and it was a full-sized, it was probably bigger than a full-size basketball court, but anyways, full size, and I was just dying. So I guess to be aware of people who have those kind of disabilities, and if you know someone does, watch out for them. Maybe because you never know when they're going to have an attack, like a asthma attack. And like to include them in activities. Say if you're all going hiking or you're all going on a race and they start to fall behind, don't just leave them behind, because people have done that to me before, and I think to myself, what's the point of even going with other people? That's one of the reasons I don't like team sports, is I was always getting left behind. So I now just don't like team sports, because I figure if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it at my own pace. So if you know someone who has that kind of a disability, be aware of them and don't let them fall behind. Like don't leave them behind, basically, because that's never nice and no one ever likes to be left behind. So that is my application lesson 11 activity. Thanks.